So today's session is T-25 laptop hardware. Our main objectives is going to be to describe how laptop functions, similarity and different than a desktop, describe its function and components within the display of a laptop, and understand installing and configuring laptop hardware components. Has anybody ever worked with a laptop itself before and know what are the main differences between one and the other?
I can say I know half of them probably. I mean, I worked on my personal laptop a few times.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so basically, yeah, laptops are the ones that are portable. Usually those are the ones that people use when they're traveling. Should have seen the original laptop. That looked like a big briefcase. I'm not sure if you guys ever seen those old, I think it was in an old Bond movie when they're carrying around a briefcase. They were pretty big, much more obviously portable. So what type of motherboard would that one have? Would it have an ATX board?
No.
What type of motherboard may I find in there? Obviously, there's various ones depending on the model and the size. But if you could just at least shout out one or two models that are possible to have in there. Maybe the mini ATX? Taking a wild guess there. Anybody?
Maybe ITX.
Mini, micro, depending on the laptop itself, right? It's not going to be a regular ATX, we agree. It's got to be one of those other ATXs that we learned. Can we, do we know any or remember any of the ones that?
Yeah, the micro ATX, the mini ATX.
Mm-hmm. We need to know that because there's also the other ones, the macro, I think, and various other ones, which are for the mobile and or for kiosks. We should know these various motherboards and where they'll most likely be. All right. Next slide. Laptops versus desktops. Our main advantages, as we see, is that it is portable. It has special function keys that you must learn because they now have it. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it, where you can do search, you can change your display, pause, higher, lower your volume. Sometimes some of them have an extra key to do the function lock so that it just stays with the function button down. It has Wi-Fi, airplane mode, all these features that a regular PC doesn't have. Even some of them have rotating or removable screens and touch screens, right? It always has a physical lock cable capability. You'll see a little hole. If you ever wonder what that little hole is on the side that never has anything that you really connect to it, that's what it is. It's for the cable lock. Goes into that little hole, you lock it in, and then you could actually lock it down to a desk. I've seen people put it to the leg of the desk, which doesn't make sense because all I have to do is just really raise the desk and I can take the cable with me. But then again, disadvantages of laptop over PCs. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it, but a lot of times laptops, 9 out of 10 times, cost much more than a regular PC because of the actual unit itself. Obviously, for it to be more compressed and the technology and the size, the smaller, the more it costs. At the same time, you suffer in performance. You don't have the same as these towers or these desktops. You can't obviously upgrade it as much. There's not much you can do with these things. There's just so much limit. Same thing with the drop hazard and or power limits. A lot of these batteries die, their lifespan after a year because people didn't learn how to take care and how to charge it correctly. So Microsoft and other OSs have come up with stuff that you'll notice that it actually, even though you forcibly are charging it, it will actually go into a mode where it starts draining itself. It actually acts like if it's unplugged, and it lets the battery start draining so it can actually do its job, and then it cycles it over. So it has those features. Any questions in reference to laptops or desktops?
Function keys.
Yeah.
I have. You can get that on your desktop too, right?
No.
No, they're only for laptops.
You have function keys, normal function keys that are on regular keyboards. Now there is special keyboards that have also these function keys. That is correct. There is some of them, but a normal keyboard on a desktop has function keys, F1 through F12, but they don't put your computer to sleep. They don't stop your video player. They don't put it in airplane mode. They can't do all these things that are usual are on a keyboard of a laptop. I do agree. There is keyboards now that are coming out later on, keyboards that now are integrated with the function key, and they also have a Windows key. They have some extra keys, right? They have the little Windows key, and they have a little the
Yeah,
three-bar,
mine has the keys. Mine has keys.
the three-bar one, the one that I think opens up like the menu.
Yeah.
So that all depends on the keyboard. The same thing, some of these laptops also have a condensed keyboard where it doesn't have the numlock or the numpad. I don't know if you ever knew this, but before, keyboards did not have that section of the numpad. That was actually added on feature that you had to connect to your computer. Now the keyboard has that. As for laptops, there is laptops that we wind up using the U, the Y, the U, the I, the J, or whatever, the HJK, and BNM or something like that to create the 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3 because they're so small that the big keyboard doesn't fit on those laptops.
That's interesting history. That's good for me to know.
You didn't know that? A keyboard didn't
No.
have it didn't have a numpad before? It
I
was
love the
actually,
numpad.
yeah, the numpad was completely separate. I remember using it when I used to do data entry back in the 80s. Just having the numpad on the side with the keyboard, regular keyboard.
I'm very happy the numpad is still alive. I love the numpad.
Yeah, I used to cost more just to have that. Any questions or doubts on this slide? Let's continue on to the next slide. Slide 6. Here's the various types of laptops. It's Lázaro, if you could help us read out this one.
All right. Types of laptops. Laptops. A small portable computer similar to a desktop in function, components, and hardware. Notebooks. Similar to a laptop without the integrated DVD/CD drives and generally weigh much less for better portability. Does not have the excessive cooling capacities due to processing being significantly lower. Netbooks. Quite small and are basically built for web surfing. Very low consumption of power. Is that like a Linux kind of thing? If it's
Netbooks are the real small laptops. Usually they don't have a DVD in it. And those are really the ones that you wind up don't even having a numpad. You've probably seen it as the X, I believe the X series of HP has very, very small ones. It's the smallest
like,
ones. They're like 11-inch or 13-inch the most.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think my mom had one and it was horrible. Anyway, sorry.
But they're very, very small. They're the smallest laptop that you can have. Here's,
Okay.
let me show you some pictures here. They usually don't come with and see how it flip out, it's very skinny and small. They don't come with a notepad. They don't come with a DVD player. They don't come with anything inside. Basically,
Oh, they're actually bigger than I think they are. But wait, that's the let me see. That's the notebook. I'm talking about the netbook.
the netbook is smaller than the notebook because it doesn't have a DVD or any of the other extra things. The notebook also doesn't have a DVD, but this one's smaller. I'm saying it's like 18. I mean, instead of being 13, it's like 8, 11. It's very, very small. It's the smallest ones that are out there. Smallest.
Okay.
It's a laptop. All of them are laptops. Don't get it confused. They're all laptops. They're just
Okay.
letting you know a laptop is the one with everything in it. It has the keyboard. That's the big keyboard. It has the numlock on it, or the numpad, sorry. The notebooks, just you take out only the DVD. The other ones are much, much smaller. They're the smallest laptops that you can come up with.
Okay. All right. Got it. Then the next part is Chrome and tablet. Chromebooks can look exactly like a laptop, but runs on the Linux-based Chrome OS. Super fast for internet and streaming, and can run Android apps. Tablet PC hybrid. Touchscreen computers that can work with a keyboard as a laptop or independently as a tablet.
Thank you. Here's a close-up picture of a netbook. See how small it is? Can you see my screen?
Oh, like a Microsoft Surface, right?
No, because that's a pad.
That's a
Microsoft
pad.
Surface is a pad. Yeah. Then they got the Microsoft Surface Pro, whatever, the one that's like a computer. It's actually a computer and a pad together. But this here is really the smallest laptop available. Has a hard drive integrated and everything. It's not like the Chromebook, which doesn't have a hard drive or anything like that.
You can find them on wish.com.
Cheapest you can actually buy.
Netbooks are just to go like on the internet.
Yeah, they don't have too much power. You wouldn't be using this really for too much stuff. The ones that would be using in corporate America most likely would be laptops and notebooks. Netbooks are really not used much. You might give this to a child because they're cheap, obviously. They're cheap and they're small. Next slide here, we have the desktops. Both have the following components. Obviously, we have a motherboard, a CPU, heatsink. The only difference is the size itself is much more smaller than the form factor. It's basically a much more tighter fit. You can see here even the fan, everything much smaller. Any questions on the motherboard size and or its layout? That's the case itself, or the shell, whichever way you want to call it. Here comes again the memory. So instead of being the actual DIMMs, you have the SO-DIMMs and micro DIMMs, which we learned in the previous chapters. The same thing, the hard drive, instead of being this big one, is this little one of 1.8, much smaller. Some of these have the actual little trackpad, and some of them have the little doohickey here. Usually that's an IBM in the middle. They put that there. Any questions on the mouse pad or the little mouse thingy? This thing sometimes irritates the living daylights out of everybody because since it's so big and some people do not know how to type or even play the piano, you're not supposed to rest your palms. Your palms are supposed to be actually up in the skies. It's supposed to look like a spider typing. A lot of people rest their palms, so this palm thing starts irritating the living daylights from the mouse moving all around. So you might want to actually deactivate this if they have an attached mouse, or activate this guy while you deactivate this guy, depending on the person and how they like it. But a lot of these people that don't know how to type, that mouse thing actually irritates the living daylights because it starts clicking away where they don't want to click. Specialized hardware for these laptops. We have docking stations. I don't know if you guys ever heard of these things. Express cards, batteries, power adapters, cable locks, biometric authentication, which is horrible, and your function keys. Anyone ever use any of these? Obviously batteries and hopefully power adapters, right?
I've used well, I definitely use the fin keys, but I also use a docking station before.
Cool. Docking stations now come in two flavors. You have, I'm not sure if they're going to go into that, but they also have a thing called a port replicator. The docking station is this big guy here where you actually dock on all your cables. This would be for a home office or a regular office. All your cables to your monitor, to the LAN, everything go into the docking station or a port replicator. As you can see, this is a port replicator, not a docking station. Completely different. Everybody see it?
So the replicator uses the seed bolt, right? I meant like not the seed type, right?
A docking station is
Replicator?
completely specialized for the actual computer. A port replicator, from my understanding, can go into a USB.
Oh, okay. So I'm getting them both confused. So the docking station is
The
what
docking
is the
station,
difference?
it actually has a special connector. I'll show you now a port replicator. He has on the bottom of the laptop, if you lift, what type of laptop you got?
I
You got
have
IBM?
a
That an IBM
no.
XE there? What is that? HP?
Actually, let me see. I don't even know the
A
brand. It
lot of
says
the new ones do
oh
not even.
Levo. It's
Who?
Levo. Levo?
Lenovo. Lenovo.
Then
Lenovo.
Lenovo, yeah.
Lenovo is Dell, I believe. But a lot of the
Yeah.
new ones don't have the actual any more capabilities of going on to the docking station. You've probably seen it on the bottom of the laptops. You see this little gold connector on the bottom of the laptop. It actually goes on top of this and seats itself in. Only that type of laptop can go into that docking station. Some of them allow two different types of models, but it has to be from the same manufacturer. So IBM, and as you can see, this one from what I can see there is an IBM, has its own specialized docking station. These puppies cost a lot of money. Versus a port replicator, which I'll bring up now into my screen over here, is a cheap version. He has the USB where he connects and he replicates all ports here. So you could actually connect your network, all of this with ease and leave it here. As you can see, it takes up no space on your desk. It's much cheaper because now I could use it on any computer. As long as I have a USB-C connector on my computer, for instance, in this port replicator that I just showed you a minute ago, it allows me to connect it to any computer and replicate the ports. While this guy here, no, only that computer model can actually use the docking station. Any questions or doubts?
Okay, so docking station is it's a more overall kind of station designed for a specific laptop, and the port replicator is literally just replicating the dock station, except that it's cheaper, smaller, and is usually not actually dockable.
It's not dockable
Right?
at all.
Not
Ever.
dockable.
It's not dockable ever. A port replicator is a port replicator. A docking station, you dock. That's the one you dock onto. Port replicator only replicates ports and it comes in by USB. Plugs in.
Got it.
Any questions, doubts? All right. Slide number 2, Pablo. Or slide to 11. Specialized 2 slide.
All right. Specialized hardware express card. It was designed and supported by the PCMCIA, the Personal Computer Memory Card International Association, sometimes called PCMCA cards. It provides special slots to add functionalities like network cards for wired or wireless networks, sound cards, FireWire controllers, USB controllers, flash memory adapters, TV tuners, and hard disks. There are two sizes, Express Card 34 and Express Card 54, that connect to the PCI Express Plus or the USB 2.0.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys have seen these PCMCIA cards before, but the PCMCIA cards were very useful little puppies. This is the ones just like if you had a PCI slot on your PCIe slot on your regular tower. This little card slides in, and with ease, you could have yourself a wireless card if you didn't have built in, Bluetooth, USB if you didn't have extra USB. You could even have serial ports, anything that you didn't have on the laptop. These cards can create those ports. Basically, you just buy that PCMCIA card, that type. Even Ethernet ports, believe it or not, at one point or another, some of these laptops didn't have Ethernet port. They only had a modem on the side. So then you can just slide in the PCMCIA card, sorry, and just then put your cable in with these. In essence, extra slots to add more functionalities that you didn't have available. I haven't seen that much, so that capability anymore. I haven't seen those cards for a while. I don't know if you guys have, but I surely haven't. Have you guys seen a PCMCIA slot card before? I mean, recently?
I think I've seen one before.
I think I may have had it, but in my computer 10 years ago, though.
Yeah, that sounds like him right there. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, that seems quite revolutionary. I wonder why that didn't catch on.
Why? Well, it stayed for a long time, but nowadays most of these computers already have the USB ports in it. They already have many other things that they can connect. Plus, nowadays, if I want a Bluetooth and I don't have it, I connect via USB. I buy the little doohickey and I connect the USB, Bluetooth, Ethernet through USB, all that through USB. So that port just became obsolete. You got USB 3 and USB 2. I believe it's equivalent to USB 2, the speed, more or less. So it just became antiquated. Just as soon as anything gets old in computers, which takes what, like
Yeah,
about
and
a
then
year?
you could have a docking station and have all those ports on one thing.
Yeah, exactly. You either buy yourself a port replicator, which is usually what's going on nowadays, or if that laptop has a docking station, you can buy yourself a docking station. Next one for specialized, Jordan, read slide 12.
Manufacturers over the years have used a few types of batteries to allow portability of laptops for long periods without recharging. The most common were nickel-cadmium, nickel-metal hybrid, and lithium-ion. Today, only lithium-ion is used because it provides the highest energy density for the weight and has few problems with external factors.
Yeah, the old ones used to die a lot. And I think they also weren't very environment friendly, if I recall, compared to these. Not that anything's environment friendly. Next one. Laptops use adapters. Fair warning. You'll be surprised how many people go and do this. These little things tell you exactly how their polarity is. It's very dangerous. If you lose this adapter and you go to Radio Shack doesn't exist anymore, does it? You go to any of these locations that you can buy yourself your own aftermarket. Obviously, it does convert from AC to DC. At the same time, we need to know how the polarity is. Not only the voltage and the amps that are coming into this unit, we need to know the polarity because we're going to mess up something. If expecting positive polarity versus negative polarity, you're obviously going the wrong way. Está entrando por donde debería salir. Just doesn't look very pretty. Exit only. Any questions? Doubts? Here's our cable locks. As I mentioned, you got the ones with a little combo. Those I always love because it only takes me a little while by the time I can actually take it away. Versus this one here, which is a specialized key. As you can see, it has a specific hole and it takes the whole desk. Do not put this on the leg of the desk. If you put it on the leg of the desk, the person only needs to lift the table and take off the hoop, and he can take the cable and the laptop all with him. This is training for users because you'll be surprised how many users, when you give them the cable lock, that's what they do. They don't actually use the specialized hole to lock it in, which means that they got to take the whole table with them versus they just put it onto the leg. If there is no hole, then you bought the wrong thing, obviously. You should have bought something else. And or you get PE, which is plant engineering, to come and make a hole. Another option is to actually, if the table has a hole on the bottom or on the back panel, just wrap the whole table coming across. There's no other choice.
I have a question. Isn't it easy to break off the cable or even the lock itself?
Break off?
Yeah.
This here, back here?
Yeah, especially that.
We gotta
Couldn't you just bend it
understand,
out?
this cable, if I really want to and I'm ready to go, all I have to do is bring a bolt cutter. I don't gotta do anything else. I just come with those specialized scissors and I'm gone. Can I break this? Yes, but if I break this, I have a very high risk that I'm gonna damage whatever the laptop motherboard component there, and then it's gonna be useless to me if I'm trying to steal it, right? I mean, can I break it? Yeah, it's a piece of plastic with metal there. I'm pretty sure if I hit it with a hammer, I could probably break it off. Anything can be done. Trust me, I've seen, I've worked with companies where a gentleman went into the building, broke, basically the door was shut, locked. And the door that he actually kicked down was security's office manager's door, kicked it down, went in, ripped out that laptop, and ran out while people were just looking at him in shock. It was at lunchtime. There wasn't many people there. And obviously, they weren't about to argue with the guy that came in that nobody recognized and kicked down the door. You don't want to be messing with crazy people. So one of the features that they have is encryption for laptops, which we will be covering later, where it is a must for laptops to all have encrypted drives to avoid information being stolen. Obviously, that the actual physical component, we can't guarantee that, but as for the contents within, at least we can guarantee that not being stolen. Next one here, Christina, can you help us out with slide 15?
Specialized hardware biometric authentication. Some laptops come with some type of biometric detectors to perform personalized authentication. Example, log in to the laptop using your fingerprint instead of a user and password. Some of the most common biometric devices found as part of the laptop or that can be connected externally are facial recognition cameras, fingerprint scanner.
Yeah. The good, bad, and the ugly about these guys, fair warning, unless if it's gotten any better over the years, the fingerprint scanner isn't as good as we expect. Anyone know why?
I know many reasons why. One, it has a really high, I think it's called false negative or false positive, where it just accepts people when it shouldn't accept them in.
That's right.
You can copy the oil and then use that oil print to get into it. That's a very common one. You can literally photocopy it and it will work on some of them.
Yeah. So it's got a very high, what they call rate of exception. There's an error rate of exception and an error rate of denial. And unfortunately, since there's a lot of users who their finger is big or some other things that are going on, they have actually hired it to a point that you can be falsely accepted, and you shouldn't be falsely accepted if you're not the person. And or vice versa, you can get actually frustrated where it is you and you're putting your finger in it, it's falsely rejecting you, which is very annoying. Obviously, I'm pretty sure the high-end ones that military use with the either the facial or even the optical scanners, I don't think they're going to be using too much the fingerprint scanner thing. Any questions or doubts on the biometric authentication? And that would be something I am, right? Something I am, something I have, something I need, or I know, sorry. Okay, our little buttons of specialized function. Depending on your laptop, every single laptop has its own little stupid button features. Well, not stupid, but great little features that allow you. Even like I said, some of them have an extra button to function lock. So they've actually done it backwards, where I don't know if you guys use F1 through F12, but I am accustomed to using F1 through F12, F1 for help and various other function keys allow you to be used within these applications. So they actually, inside a laptop, they've done it where it's backwards, where it's actually stuck to play, to stop, to fast forward, to higher your volume, and or whatever idiocracies that they decided to add onto this keyboard. So I have to go and actually hit function and hit function lock because I do use my function keys for what they're meant to be. So obviously you have dual displays features, wireless, volume, all these features as you see here are available depending on the manufacturer and what they want to give you. There is regular keyboards, as Lázaro has alluded to, that you can buy aftermarket, which even let you do the exact same things. But obviously you have to have the drivers for those keyboards for it to work right. Next, actually, it's 10:21, guys. I'm gonna pause here. We still have halfway to go. Go ahead and take your 15-minute break. Let me pause it here. We'll stop the video.
Diego, you gave me PTSD when I first got my laptop, and I couldn't.
In reference to physical ports, we have various ports that are available depending on the manufacturer himself, but obviously these are the different flavors. The power is a must. Obviously that will be in all of them. But as for any of the other ones, pick your flavor, they may be missing depending on if it's a notebook or for Chromebook or a laptop or a netbook. That's where your actual variances in the amount of ports that you can have. Any questions on the variances of ports and or?
I see that they have Ethernet and telephone. Does that mean the telephone is?
The telephone is what?
I'm looking at the power slide. It has Ethernet 45, and the telephone is a RJ11.
Okay, you're sounding like a robot to me over here. Give me a second. Is anybody else having problems hearing him? Or is it just me? I think it's me. Give me a second.
It's a little slow for me, like connection.
A lot of people have internet issues today.
I was having some internet issues in the morning. I wouldn't be surprised it's coming back.
Here we are. Sound a little bit more stable. I heard something about RJ45 and RJ11. That would be alluding to, then I take it you're referencing actual telephone port and or Ethernet port that it has, right?
Yeah, like, is that like actual it is, or is it like something else? I see interesting how it labels it.
Well, that's an Ethernet port there, that one. If you notice, even it has the 3 little computers next to it. But there is some laptops that have a telephone port for a modem. Completely different port. RJ11, right?
Like a very well, no, DSL doesn't. I just find it strange that it just says telephone line, so I'm just thinking it's just using the old dial-up.
It is.
Or
Dial-up.
it is?
That's what it is. The telephone is old dial-up, a modem. It's a modem.
Oh yeah, the definition of a modem is just translating analog to digital.
It's just an analog connection to the world. That's all you have with a telephone port. There is no there's no Ethernet or token ring running on that. You must connect via telephone line, old POTS line, plain old telephone systems. Can you everybody hear me? All right, cool. Let me try one more time sharing with, see if it doesn't freeze on me again.
I'm not sure why, but my screen is very fuzzy when I look at you though.
Yeah, mine too.
You look
But
at
it's-
me.
Yeah, your screen.
All right. Paul. But you can see, you can still follow along on your Nearpod without a problem.
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
Okay. So if there's no questions on slide 17, let's go now to slide 18. Here are some more physical ports. Depending, obviously, again, on the actual vendor, you will have various flavors of these things. You have the HDMI display ports, Thunderbolt, CD, DVD. You have microphone, headphones. All these are basically the actual physical ports, depending on the models.
What is a super drive?
8X super drive,
Yeah.
8 times fast. That's still a CD-ROM that I'm aware of. There's a 16 times fast. There's 8 times fast, 4 times fast.
Oh, it's a DVD reader? It's an optical drive?
I'm aware of.
Oh, okay. Because I'm looking at it, I'm like, I thought that was like some weird indent on the laptop.
No, that's I think I'm not sure if it's on the on Apple they call it super drives or who calls them super drives, whatever. But the speed is what they're mentioning is 8 times fast compared to the original CD and DVD players. This one's 8 times faster, 8 times faster, and I believe double layered on both sides.
And then what is the lock slot? Is that an actual part to put the lock, like a physical lock, or is that something else?
The lock slot, yeah, that's where the lock goes. The cable lock. That's the cable lock. Any other questions? Next slide, we have here the actual adapters. As I stated before, you'll see here there's various USB ones now that are available. That's why we don't have the PCMCIA card anymore. Everything's basically migrated to the USB port. You can have Bluetooth, you can have RJ45 Ethernet, you can have a little Wi-Fi for if you don't have built-in Wi-Fi, or even an optical drive for those netbooks and or small laptops. We are on the last one. Yeah, page, not the last one, but the last one for this area, page 20. Anybody want to tell me what slot 1 is?
SD card. Slot.
Hmm?
The SD card. SD card.
Everybody agree?
I agree. It does look like a SD slot.
You can't see it very good, but we do agree it has to be for one of those little cards, right? It's not, it doesn't look big enough for a PCMCIA, but we know it's for a small card, right? We agree with that. So whatever options we have on available, as long as we know which ones are the small little slots, and hopefully they only give us one of them, right? Well, there's 2 of them, right? There's a little one there, a real little one, and then there's this one here, which seems a little bit bigger. And if I can see it right, might be saying SD. It looks like 2 letters there, so I'll take SD. Lack of a better thing there. Next one.
That's the Ethernet port.
Everybody agree that's an Ethernet port? RJ45 Ethernet?
I agree.
Yeah.
And we can tell because of what? A little triangle of computers, right? There's 3 computers right there. So if I had any doubt if that was an RJ11, it would have a little phone icon. You would actually see a phone to represent a modem. What's this guy here? Number 7. Oh, sorry, number 3. We skipped 3 there.
That's a VGA port.
All right. What's number 4?
Power supply.
Everyone agree? Power?
Yeah.
Yes.
All
For a
right.
second,
About 5. What's 5?
USB.
Huh?
Looks like it's generation 1 or 2 USB port. Hard to tell.
That's
Go with generation 1, at least USB. Okay. What's number 6?
That'd be the 3.0. USB 3.0.
All right. And 7?
HDMI.
Yeah, right. HDMI. We look carefully, even the little icon there looks like the HDMI icon. Any questions, doubts?